Hello everyone, and this is the last part of these three videos about the common market for Eastern and Southern Africa, or COMESA. So in the first part, it was like an introduction, a bit of the history of the COMESA. Um I named some of the member states, some of the contexts, the year in which this was created, and an overview of what a regional market is. In the second one, I talk about only about the member state, which was not the best idea I had, but uh, that that we got something about that. We achieved to analyze the different countries and determine which one of those is the most important or the most relevant for the COMESA. And we find out that it is Egypt. So this video will be only about Egypt and the work that they have done working together with the COMESA. So let's start with it. If you have a great memory, not like me, and you probably remember that we talk about Egypt and the location in the map. We established that Egypt is located in the northeastern corner of the African continent. It is bordered to the north by the Mediterranean Sea, and it's bordered also by the Red Sea. And I think the most shocking fact about Egypt was the gross domestic product, because we find out that the GDP was about 250.9 billion dollars. So it's the larger contributor to the GDP by far among the states that belong to the COMESA. So now, um, leaving that aside, um, I think that, well, as the rest of the countries in the world after the pandemic of 2020, um, Egypt was also affected by this situation, because the value of Egypt's total exports to COMESA decreased by 32%, going from to $2.9 billion in 2019 to only 2 billion in 2020. The value of Egypt's imports from the COMESA also decreased by 33%, which is a 1% more than the exports. This went from $1 billion in 2019 to only $699 million in 2020. Now, talking about the trade potential, is Egypt that has the highest trade potential, which will increase intra-COMESA trade by 26.3 billion, followed by Libya with 16.6 billion, then Tunisia with 15.7 million, then the the Congo with 12.2 billion, Zambia with 5.8 billion, Kenya with 4.2 billion, and finally Zimbabwe with 4.1 billion. Egypt is the leading extra COMESA exporter and has the highest, accounting for 35%, followed by Tunisia with 16%, Ethiopia with 8%, Kenya with also 8%, Libya with 5%, Sudan 5%, Congo 4%, and finally Uganda with 4%. Now, in 2021, the value of Egyptian exports to COMESA countries increased to 2.3 billion compared to 1.7 billion during the same period in 2020, marking a growth of 22.4% according to the statement by the Central Agency for Public Mobilization and Statistics, CAMPAS. Egyptian imports from COMESA countries also rose by 25% during the same period. As a result, Egypt recorded 900 million compared to 721 million previously, and the trade volume grew to 3.1 billion compared to 2.4 billion, an increase of 30.1%. In recent years, more specifically in 2022 or since 2022, Egypt has established a vision aimed at deepening business integration among the countries of the region to expand the pace of economic recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. This vision arises from the challenges and in light of the important role played by COMESA as a regional economic grouping aimed at achieving sustainable development for member states, deepening economic integration and regional development among the member countries in harmony with the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, which is also one of the most important uh, agreements in Africa. The Egyptian vision aims to launch several initiatives to contribute to deepening integration in various economic sectors in the short and medium terms. Egypt believes that encouraging business encompassing all forms of commercial, investment, and productive activities will significantly contribute to accelerating the pace of recovery. I didn't know anything about these unions, about these agreements, about these economic blocks that are um, emerging in Africa. And it was until I start this class, the regional markets, that I start seeing or I start noticing that Africa is making a great effort to develop some of the aspects that were completely abandoned uh, in previous decades. And it's since the middle of the second part of the last century that countries within Africa start to achieve the independence. And putting into perspective, it is it is not strange that they took all the opportunities that they have to try to develop what was denied for many, many years. Each country, in their own way, are making an effort to cooperate between them to make um, Africa to great again, as I said in the beginning of the first video. And it's really inspiring how countries around Africa start have started to create these agreements, and also how people in those countries are taking the yeah are consider they are considered as leaders. They are seeing that Africa has the potential to become an important part of the globalization. They are managed to increase the the infrastructure, they are increasing the productivity, they are searching ways to save the environment that they have, and they are searching new ways to exploit the natural resources that they have. But it is also true that Europe is it is still over that continent. It is still searching ways to rob all the continent because it is like the gold mine for them, and they don't see African as a continent. They don't. I don't think that they see Africa as the neighbor continent. They maybe saw see Africa as the main I don't know how to say it, the main resource found, in a way to say it. But I think that if all the continent of Africa start to um, get together to pull each other, they will manage to improve, for example, health, the infrastructure, the transport system, and a big etc. And the rest of the world just have to wait until that happens. The rest of the world just it is the time for Africa to develop itself. It is the time for Africa to be the main actor of this world. But to achieve that, it is still a big, 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 big path to follow, and there is so much work to do in that continent to develop their lives. And it's interesting how, even though I had the classes of regional markets, I still have this mentality of, or this idea of an Africa in completely incomplete, starving, incomplete, famine. I have this idea that in Africa don't have internet, or they don't have uh, access to the AI, but they do have, they have all this thing, and they are making, and they are using it. They are trying to use what they have, the tools that we already have, to improve their situation, and that's very inspiring for me. So that's why I choose this union. And yeah, that's all for this. I hope you like it, and apologize for the last video because I know it's too long. So goodbye.